Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh. Byron York is the chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner, also a Fox News contributor. Hello, Byron. How you doing?
Doing well, Hugh, and you?
I am great, but I've got a question. We need a second act. Donald Trump's first 6 months were fabulous. I've gone over with Victor Davis Hanson for 43 minutes today. Everything he got done, everything he promised to get done, and now the agenda's done. What's next, Byron?
More prosperity. People really like prosperity. More of that would be really, really good. Obviously, if he could actually end the war in Ukraine, that would be astonishing and amazing and a great accomplishment. But in terms of what he promised, the thing to do is obviously keep up the border security. Keep up the enforcement of immigration laws, because you're going to see the creeping upward of more Americans, native-born Americans or American citizens being hired in jobs, and make sure you've got prosperity.
How about a legislative agenda, though? Those things are macro, and he's done it. The tax cuts have been extended. He's jawboning the Fed, and what the Fed does is beyond his control. And even if he replaces Jerome Powell, unless he replaces the whole Fed board, he can't get a loose board. The question is, what does he ask for legislatively? My suggestion is to aim at education, at expanding the Ted Cruz tax credit, at bringing school choice to schools via a mandatory demand for options for people with kids in failing schools, and to go after higher ed that's elite and exclusive and where places are going to kids from abroad and not to Americans. But what do you think he ought to focus on?
Well, I do think if there's some sort of legislative way to go after wokeness in academia the way that he has been doing with various individual schools, I think that's a real possibility. I think further some sort of legislation as far as we've seen a number of state bans on so-called gender-affirming care for minors. I think that would be useful. But everything else, I'm telling you, prosperity. Keep prices down, wages up, happy people.
You know, Victor Davis Hanson told me that he paid $5.98 a gallon for gas in Palo Alto this week. I was in New Hampshire talking to Scott Brown yesterday, stopped to fill up my car before I left, $2.89. And so the question becomes, how can that be, Byron? And can the president attack that?
Well, you lived in California for a long time. Actually, California is so big that it actually requires specific blends of gasoline, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay. And does that add to the price of it?
It does, but it's also got a sales tax component that's state. But it really is about transporting gas and the cost of refining out there. 2 refineries are shutting down, Twain told me during the break. I wonder if Trump can target energy production, oil production in some particularly ambitious way. But in any event, any agenda, he's going to put a rescissions package up. It's not going to have nearly the impact of killing off NPR and PBS. That was a big deal. It was a big deal to kill off USAID. What else can he kill off in a rescissions package?
Well, he's working on the Department of Education, which he can't do completely, but he can go a long way toward it, and he could also actually try to do it through Congress by moving some of the actual real functions of the Department of Education to other places, because you don't need an entire education department. So streamlining the thing that made Doge popular at the beginning, before they started kind of doing a lot of sort of disorganized things, was the idea of introducing more efficiency in government. So any legislation that points in that direction would be a good thing.
Now, the thing that appealed to me the most in the One Big Beautiful Bill that I did not know about was that Ted Cruz got past the Senate parliamentarian a $1,700 per person tax credit beginning in 2026, I believe, where you, Byron York, or I, Hugh Hewitt, can write a check for $1,700 to a qualified scholarship granting institution. I don't know what the terms are. I believe they have to be in a school. It has to be, charters have to be available. And that's a tax credit. That's a dollar for dollar reduction in your taxes. Who wouldn't do that, Byron? And if so, if I'm right about that, should they up that and expand it? It got past the parliamentarian once.
Well, first of all, I mean, as far as who wouldn't do that, a lot of Americans don't pay federal income tax.
I know. I'm talking about taxpayers.
Well, yeah, I mean, and who has? I would say who has the means wouldn't do that. I would say everybody who has the means would do that. It's a smart thing for Ted Cruz to do, and it moves policy in the right direction. But I would stress that there's tons of Americans who cannot write a $1,700 check.
Right. They owe it to the government, though. I'm only talking about people who owe the federal government $1,700 or more at the end of the year, and their accountant gives them the bad news. And rather than write it to the federal government, give it to a school that qualifies, give it to a scholarship organization.
Seems like a no-brainer, absolutely.
What about a requirement, and I think this could get past the Senate parliamentarian, if we're going to spend money on your school, you've got to accept at least 95% Americans in your student body.
95% Americans, meaning citizens?
Admissions, yeah.
People who are here legally. I do think some sort of limit on I think there are a number of schools that have taken a lot of foreign students for revenue purposes.
Yes.
That's a really bad idea. Because it reduces the opportunities for Americans. So that's one way to get at this problem. But the idea of sort of for-profit padding of the foreign student population is really nuts.
It's nuts, it's unpopular, and it keeps American kids whose parents built the country, including the roads. You know, remember when Obama said you didn't build that? Universities actually did not build themselves. They were built with money that you and I and every taxpayer before us provided, including the private ones. Byron York, follow him on X at Byron York.